Every few weeks, I love to look at the leaderboards of each server, looking to see if any players are doing things differently or doing things that really stands out to me that I can use in my own strategy and exploit to gain elo. Now, one player stands out by far from the rest, and that's a player that goes by the name of Xayira, or Jebsu, as he's also known as. Just looking at these stats and these KDAs, it's really a telltale sign that this guy plays for pure consistency and has a very, very low-risk playstyle. Looking at his stats, it's incredible. He holds 10 CS per minute on average every game. I don't know if there's any other player right now in solo queue that replicates this, especially in the higher elo games. This guy definitely doesn't play on the best server by any means, Europe North. I think I would probably rate it the 4th best server, after, of course, Korea, Europe West, North America, and then Europe North. I'm not going to count China because I don't really study that server. So it's probably the 4th best server, and this guy holds consistent results, smashing every mid laner. So today I'm going to be going over an Orianna gameplay where he holds 11 CS per minute, 16, 0, 13, perfect game. Going over his runes and masteries, typical Orianna rune page. Nothing special here, guys. Nothing special at all. Masteries. On Orianna, he goes for only 2 points in meditation with 3 points in the Merciless. That mainly gives you a little bit more damage. It kind of says, look, I'm going to get the Morello early. I'm going to get blue buffs. Feed me a bit more mana, but in lane, I'll have more damage. Other than that, I'll go into the build path and the skill order during the game. So without further ado, boys, let's get straight into it. Now, this Orianna, I've looked at his past gameplays, and I'd say about 90% of the games, he's starting Q. And I'll show you why. Most of the time, he'll start off with an aggressive Q early and try and start zoning away from level 1. You'll notice he has a very different playstyle to, like, this guy's Orianna compared to, let's say, Faker's Orianna is so much different. Walks up for that first Q on the wave. Just last hitting, he's letting it push into him. He's not too fast. He gets pushed in early. Make sure to tank a couple so he doesn't miss these 2 minions. Nothing spectacular there. He doesn't really want to make the wave push into the Nivea so that he can't get ganked early on. Level 2 first. Moves up for the zone. Now take note, he autoed and then QW'd for the Thunderlords. If you're playing Orianna, always make sure you get that auto in between that combo. Making sure that ball's right there. You see that ball control he has on that? Making sure that ball's really deep into the Anivia, kind of dictating where the Anivia can move and how he can trade on the CS when the Anivia goes for it. It's one of the most annoying things against really good Oriannas is that it's super hard to get a positive trade against them because their ball's already up in your face when you start the trade. He's got the wave pushing into the Anivia now. He needs to get a ward out at some stage over the next... he might go for a push and then ward. But he's still hanging back, making sure he can't be ganked. He doesn't have any vision on the Gragas. We'll see where he places his ward. Mid topside, I actually think it's a debatable ward. He had enough time to go into the river a little bit and get it deeper right in there. He could have placed it right there a little bit deeper to make sure the Gragas can't get behind him. Just sitting, playing passively. He hasn't traded for a while now. He knows that at this period, like, the jungler is most likely to gank. The wave's pushing into him. I think he saw the Gragas topside. But he has his ward out, so he knows if the Gragas is going to come. Hugs the bot side towards his jungler and the Blitzcrank. Did he get a double hit? His team had a really good counter gank there. That's all it really was. He didn't have to do much. Blitzcrank played it good. He'll push this in and reset. Probably get the Lost Chapter. Maybe a pink ward. He'd have like over 1,000 gold. So early laning phase, he's just trading early on, making sure he's not doing anything too aggressive or stupid that's going to get him killed. There was no period in that laning phase where he could have fucked up and got killed. There's no way. Lost Chapter boots. Standard build on the Orianna into the Morello early. Using that W to get back to lane. I always promote these movement speeds to get to lane. Doesn't want to miss out on any farm. You got to realize this guy always goes for 10 CS a minute or higher. He prioritizes, I'd say he prioritizes not dying as his number one. Number two would be his farm. Number three is, number three is probably like kills and looking for objectives. The reason he does this KDA playstyle, playing super safe, is just so that he has consistent games, guys. You have to realize, if he plays like this every game and doesn't die, over 100 games, he's going to put himself into positions to carry much more often than going for these 50-50 trades. Pushes in, goes for a top lane roam. He has to be really quick or he's going to miss a mid wave. Does he get the jacks? Pretty full. He'd maybe flash kill him, but he's not going to decide to go for it. The roam doesn't pay off. He does tax the entire wave though, I think. He's going to tax the entire wave. One wave crashes mid, but he says, fuck this, I'm not going to roam for nothing, and takes the farm. This player is very greedy. He takes a lot of resources for himself, trusting that he's going to carry towards the later stages of the game rather than his teammates. About a 15 CS advantage. And he's already on track for 10 CS per minute. As a pink bot side, I'd say he'd probably start hugging bot side. Goes for a push as well. While they do dragon. Whenever dragon's being taken, all these objectives, guys, make sure you're pushing in mid lane because it means that the enemy mid laner is stuck mid while you're there protecting the objective. I hate to see mid laners not go for a push there and not try and help for the junk to secure the objective at all. If you push your enemy mid laner and have the priority, it benefits your team so fucking much. Comes in, takes a free kill and pieces out. Now I think I've watched probably 20 or 30 Orianna games of this guy now. He doesn't do anything too exciting, guys. He just plays it extremely slow. He makes the plays when necessary, but when it's could potentially go wrong, he doesn't bother even trying it. It's not worth his time. Anything that leads to less consistent results, he doesn't bother. Backs at 80 CS at 8 minutes. Nope, stays. He's gonna want that blue ASAP. Wait, did Gragas just take Anivia's blue? That's so frustrating as an Anivia when you're losing lane, you don't get the blue buff. And then now already gets the blue buff and Anivia gets fucked over so hard. She's got 2 mana items, she might be fine. But now the Orianna's going to be able to dictate the lane so much better than the Anivia. Level 9 on Orianna is the point where the QW clears the backline minion waves. Unless you've got some incredible snowball, but level 9 is where you can clear the wave in pretty much one shot, one rotation. Fuck me, a 9-minute Morello. I mean, at this stage of the game, you're already doing incredible amounts of damage. Especially into the Nivea who has no MR. Nobody has MR yet. Now, a lot of people thinking like maybe you can copy this. This playstyle is only possible because he has absolutely mastered Orianna. And most of the champions he's played, he knows exactly how the matchup works. He knows the lane dynamic. He's never going to get solo killed. He knows exactly how to play. Gonna grab a kill here. Autos the tower. Oh, that was a little bit boosted play. I think he maybe could have got it, but even then, I was surprised. I didn't think he'd go for that. Waste the flash. For a kill, that's not really going to mean anything. Honestly, even if he got the kill, Jax was going to come in to make sure he couldn't get the tower push. Now here, watch this right now. His jungler is pathing topside. Obviously, would want to go for these wraiths, but he says, nope, I'm going to take this camp. That makes his jungler, that puts his jungler behind, guys. In Korea, my jungler would go AFK if I did that, because he's pathing topside, you're meant to back off. But this guy says, no, I'm taking the resources. It's my time to shine. Fuck out of my way, I'm carrying. It's pretty much what he's saying by taking all these camps and all these resources. I'm assuming he's a well-known player over in Europe, and people respect him, so they don't really care that he's taking every resource, but in your solo queue games, maybe play a little bit safer around moody junglers. By taking those camps is going to help him get 10 CS per minute. Going to give him that extra little bit of gold. Goes for the Sork boots. Just a typical Orianna build early on. We'll see whether he goes for the Ludens or the Leandries early. It's usually either those two after the Murillo. He has no flash, guys. Look how he's playing. Almost under tower, just waiting for the wave to crash. Most players would go straight up there and try and look to, you know, look to trade, look to kind of fill out your opponent more. He just sits back under the tower. Blitz comes and gives him another free kill, I assume. Watch how he's playing. There's no risk here, guys. He's playing zero risk. I'd say like most players, risk reward, you know, bronze players like, I don't know, 40, 60. This guy's like risk reward is kind of like, unless there's an 80% chance of it going right, he's not going to bother. If it's like a 60% chance of going right, but a 40% chance of going wrong, he's just going to say, nah, it's not worth my time. Never taking the risky move, always the smart decision, safe, and this just leads to consistency. That's all it's about. See what he goes towards now. Fiendish Codex, okay. That's either for a Banshees. What is that going to be for? Banshees, Hourglass, or I guess that's all it can really be for. A Banshees would be nice into that Nivea, but I'm not too sure about that. We'll see what he builds it into. He's very low on mana. He's waiting for that blue buff, I guess. Wants to push this next wave, get the blue. Probably even going to take a couple camps. At this point in time, the game's looking very safe. He's just going to keep farming and wait for these little skirmishes so that then he can pounce on the team fights to win the game. Commits for the top lane roam. This is great. Everybody's there to commit for it. Pops Ghost. I'd say almost that's a misplay by the enemy team. They got out, but they stayed around. Anivia gets another push on, but Orianna's already at a point where her farm advantage is never going to get cancelled out by a couple of creeps. She can pick this up, go farm another camp, as long as she gets this blue buff. If she was denied blue buffs by a really good jungler, I'm not sure how this person would go, because pretty heavy mana cost on this Orianna playstyle where you're going for the hard push. Especially into Anivia's. You need blue buff into an Anivia or you're fucked. Goes for a back hit. Waste a little bit of time, to be honest. Doesn't have too much mana for this bot lane roam. Waste more time. He was kind of sitting there just kind of thinking, do I need to go bot lane? Is there a free kill for me to pick up, or do I take the blue buff? As I said before, this player is not super exciting to watch. It's really juicy to look at his stats and look at, you know, his KDAs and his CS per minute, but he just plays that, he gets that by playing super safe without huge risks. You can replicate this in your own solo queue if you master a champion. But sometimes sitting back and letting your team kind of assist you to carry doesn't really work out. It's not an aggressive playstyle by any means. He's not really actively looking for plays around the map. He's letting the plays come to him, if you understand what I mean. He's more reactive than proactive, in my opinion. It works perfectly fine, though. There's nothing wrong with it. This is a different playstyle. Blitzcrank just out roaming the Thresh here. Great knowledge that the Nivy be backing. Mid laners always love to tuck underneath that that wall just there and go for the base. If you can stop it, it's always beneficial. Look how he plays this team fight. Look at it. Look how he's playing. It's a bad decision. He does not commit his life for it. He could have maybe made that. He could have picked up 1 or 2 there if he kind of hard committed, but he would have probably died. He says, no, I'm not going to die. I don't want mid lane to drop. Doesn't commit. This is one thing low elo players do. They'll commit for these bad decisions that your jungler or support make, and you'll die for it and pay the price. This guy never lets anybody else make his decisions for him. $200 CS at 17. Great CS per minute. Still sitting mid. I think he's had one roam and 1 half committed bot lane roam with Ghost. Very mid lane oriented. Doesn't really roam very much at all. Orianna shouldn't be a roam champion, but I think in lower elos you can definitely roam as much as you want. Goes to the Void Staff. Okay, this is a very interesting build. Void Staff is more for like an early game snowball or power spike right now ahead of the curve. Just as people start getting their magic resist, he's already got the Void Staff. Looking at the enemy comp, they're gonna get MR, but once again, I'm not too sure about this build path. I think a Ludens would have been a better choice for the early game. Void Staff, that's super strange. I'd love to talk to these players and kind of get their thought process behind these type of things. And the random fiendish codex chucked in. Roam stop for the free kill. Probably pushes the next wave. Mid lane is going to fall here. I know that the combo of having Void and Sork boots early is most efficient for damage in the mid game, but Eludens with the extra movement speed, the utility it gives, I don't know. Especially against no MR team so far. I need someone to crunch the numbers for me, but he could probably have Ludens by now. Next item is going to be... Okay, so he's going for the penetration build path on the Orianna. Into the Leandry, some more flat magic pen. Any type of magic resist the enemy team gets now is thwarted, it's done. He's already ahead of the curve, so he's just going to do pure damage, really. God, I don't know if I can consistently play like this. Once again, waits for his team to proactively make the move and he follows up. He has no flash, so he's hovering back. There's not a chance in hell he's moving up towards a Gragas that can just ult him back. Great spacing here. Finally drops a mid lane tower. Into Nivea, it's kind of hard to drop the mid lane tower early on. Mainly due to the wave clear. He has had a lot of assistance mid though, I'm not gonna lie. Pops ult down, tests his damage a bit. Look how much resources this guy's taking, guys. 270 farm at 22 minutes. He's pretty much maxing out the farm you can possibly get. Getting XP advantage by doing that as well. Just make sure for any of these fights that break out, if he's there, he wins them. Looking at the enemy team, there's not really much of a threat, to be honest. He can deal with all of the enemy comp. Ezreal's kind of short range. He's not going to be able to get into auto range. Let's look how he plays this. Sitting behind the wall, waiting for the opportune moment to go in. Yes, flat. Yeah, all right. As soon as he sees that team fight's going to be a positive, he flashes in to clean it up. Make sure at no point he's not even taking damage in that team fight, guys. He's sitting in the dragon pit. Fuck, he takes no risks at all. This guy takes no risks, makes no mistake. Take that camp as well, give me every resource. This would be one of the most frustrating things to play into. Just because he doesn't give the enemy any fucking opportunity to make any play on him that puts him behind. These control mages are getting nerfed next patch. I still think they're going to be strong, guys. Not as strong, obviously, but I still think they're going to run rampant in the mid lane. The likes of Orianna, Talia, and Syndra are still going to be very strong. I don't think any of the nerfs are strong enough to put them like too far behind the other mid laners. Hopefully, we'll see Xayira rise back up with the buffs into the late game scaling. I'm not too sure yet. I hope so. Broth a good Azir. Finishes off the Leandries. Needlessly large for the death cap, I'd assume. Wonder why he likes to go for that early cooldown reduction. Just pops that into the build. He's level 16. Right now, he should be looking for like a 5v5 team fight. He should be able to stomp it. Their team's only up 1,000 gold though. See how he plays. Just sits back, doesn't do anything risky, looks for the ult. Gets the ult off, gets some DPS out, but he's not willing to risk the risky play that could maybe win them the game, but also if he doesn't go right, he loses them the game. Doesn't even bother contesting the Baron. In the likes of getting hooked over. There's no point. Gets the farm, gets the blue buff, and kind of says, look, come at me and try and siege. I've got a lot of damage. I'll probably bop you all over the head if you come. I'm actually surprised. If this is his playstyle, why doesn't he run cleanse? Because the enemy's only really way of getting onto him is the Thresh or the Anivia, and he can just cleanse out the Thresh. And he doesn't utilize the Ghost for roams either. Interesting. Level 7 in at 26. That's really fucking good. He's gonna go to the bot lane to match the Jax. It's the only really place he's gonna find farm as well. He probably doesn't want to like. He seems to be playing around his flash very often, where he's not even putting himself into any type of ability range without the flash. Apparently this guy reached Masters or higher in Europe West. That's what I've heard, but I haven't seen any of the proof. Playing this champion to perfection. The problems with players like these, when you match them against someone such a with the game knowledge of Faker will just roam on you and influence the map too hard where you won't have the laning phase and they'll group on the mid to siege. But into Anivia, I mean, you're not a roam heavy champion, you can't influence the map. You're really a poverty Orianna at this stage, with the Orianna outscaling you anyway. His flash is up now, so he can move up. He can one-shot probably any of the enemy. Jax everyone's gonna start itemizing towards MR, which is gonna be unfortunate. But he's already ahead of the curve with his magic pen, so you can kind of see why he's gone that. He's hit that death cap. Surely now he's going to commit for the fight. Just watch how he positions. Yep. pulls back, needs to get that base off to regen. He's just not making any of those type of mistakes where he's like, okay, maybe we can get this more, but if it goes wrong, it goes really wrong. There's definitely something you guys can take away from this and put into your own gameplay. Maybe not to this extent of little to no risks, but definitely just how he's making decisions based on risks. Surely this gets boring, playing like he does. I guess he doesn't really care. I couldn't find any Smurfs. I wonder if he has any Smurfs where he likes to play around a bit with his leads and try and do more flashy, impressive plays. If anyone knows if he has a Smurf, hit me up and let me know. I'd love to see his playstyle on a Smurf. See if it changes at all. Or see if he commits to this playstyle. Waits for the engage. Ooh, he could die here. Runs straight back out of the range. Back in the range of the Jacks. Ooh, that was tight there. Resets. This guy does not want to die at all. I thought maybe he's going to stay around and give his team a couple more shields from the outskirts of the fight where he can't be hit, but gets a quick back in, looking for maybe a siege or the Baron. Has that Flame Horizon now, of course. He's still picking up waves, farming camps. Once again, this is such a... I would describe this playstyle as just a reactive playstyle rather than proactive. And it's working incredibly well for him. Perfect. Always needs this blue before big objectives like that. I want to see how he positions to this Baron and postures because he has no flash, so I really want to see how far he hangs back. See if he's willing to take a risk. As of yet, no risks. Maybe in that last team fight could have died. Make sure he's pushing behind. Always behind carries, guys. Look at this. Perfect Baron call. Baron reset. Probably put up a siege and end the game. Wants to push top wave in. He might just be off an item. I don't think he's gonna stay at all. Backs up. Probably just got enough of that item. What's he going to finish with? Wait, he sells it? He sells it for the Ludens? What's the point of the Codex? I actually don't understand that. Gets the Codex. Sells it late game for Ludens. Fuck that. That's strange to me. Has his flash and his ghost up. The way Orianna works, I really don't... He's going to dish out so much damage in the next team fight, as long as he doesn't get caught by the Thresh, that he's going to be able to win the game. I just want to see a QW combo on Ezreal. I'm pretty sure he'll one-shot him. Ooh. He had flash. He was ready to push that flash. See how when he has flash, guys, he plays way more aggressively and positions up. This back, waiting for his team. They've got mid and top wave pushing into them. It's kind of a bad siege to put yourself into when you have two of your other lanes, your opposite lanes, are getting pushed in towards you. It's never that great to siege on that. You'd rather a slow push. It's kind of hard to set up, but I'm also in a perfect world where this guy obviously lives. Fuck, this Blitz hitting some nice hooks. Gets that ultimate in. They're going to siege up bot in here, I'd say. They've got the wave pushing in. This is so oppressive for the enemy team. It's actually depressing to look at the enemy team. Just knowing they have no way back into the game unless they kill the Orianna, who plays pretty much perfectly and positions perfectly. There's no opportunity for them to come back into it. He's not gifting them the opportunity or the space. So incorporating this into your own playstyle, guys, I would just recommend the low risk playstyle is great. If you do get the advantages early though, you do have to push them a little bit more than this guy has, I would say. The Orianna does scale in the late game, so you don't have to push it too hard, but this guy plays it to an extreme. Doesn't get baited in by his team, makes his own decisions, positions incredibly safe towards the mid and late game, and more so just waits for his team to set up the kills rather than him setting them up himself. I'd be super interested to see this guy play in competitive play. I'm so interested to see how it'd go. How this playstyle would really work in competitive. I'm guessing it wouldn't. A little bit of memeing towards the end of the game. Are they going to stay to finish or what? I think he ends the game here. I mean, looking back on the game, he literally made 0 mistakes. I'd say he made maybe 1 or 2 mistakes that game, but when it comes to like his actual mechanics and putting himself into risky scenarios, they just didn't really happen. He played slow, made sure he's getting the farm, scaled up way better than his opponent, the Anivia, and outperformed Anivia in pretty much every team fight, hitting really good ults. Most of the ults, 1 or 2, like at least 2 or 3 men, and then he only pulled the 1-man ults when he needed to secure kills. Now this guy plays like this every game. Every single Orianna game, this is how he plays. He plays that slow playstyle where he's getting that farm, really little risks during the early game. You saw how he played the laning phase. There was not much opportunity for the enemy jungler to gank him. I'm assuming if they have an even more gank-heavy jungler, like a Shaker or an Eve or something, he'd play even safer than that. He just wants to do this to get consistency, guys. If he plays like this every game, he's going to be getting into the mid to late game with 10 CS per minute and items, giving him a chance if he hits that shockwave, he wins the game for the team. He does lose games, but the games he loses, guys, he still has these incredible KDAs and CS scores, meaning that he doesn't change his playstyle no matter what is happening. Always that low risk, medium reward. It's not really low risk, high reward. I would definitely not call it. I'd say it's almost no risk for medium rewards. But it works out in the long run, and it's got him to rank 1 in Europe, Nordic. I'd be super interested to see how he goes in competitive scenario, or even on a different server such as Europe or Korea. I'm not too sure how this playstyle would work in Korea, but definitely in Europe West and North America, it'd be interesting to see how he would go on the ladder. But yeah, guys, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.